Hello. Sorry I'm running a little bit late. Child abuse awareness with Darlene J. Clark. Deals with physical, child sexual, neglect, abandonment, personal stories with one caring community. Be a part of the solution. Subscribe, like, and share. Said I'd like to start off with the Bible verse. Matthew 18, verse 10. Take heed that ye despise not one of these little ones. For I say unto you, that in heaven their angels do always behold the face of my Father which is in heaven. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Hey there, good to see you. Put a community post up that you'll be interested in. Cool. I'd like to take a look at that a little bit. Thank you so much, and would like to see that. Good to see you also. Today we're talking about the opioid lawsuit settlement in Food City in Tennessee. Hello. Now here with the Attorney General, the Tennessee Attorney General announces opioid lawsuit settlement with Food City. I'm gonna go over here in our studio over here on my other name so I can look over here and see the chat at the same time. About Cam. Oh, let me go back this way. Guess I don't want to end up minding me. Give me a few seconds to work that out. I wanted to stop the cam and it wanted to read that one too. Other studio on the others. Making sure it don't mute it on the main one. Okay. All right. Tennessee Attorney General announces opioid lawsuit settlement with Food City. This was Thursday, September 23rd, 21st, 2023. Tennessee's Attorney General says the state has reached a settlement with a company that owns Food City grocery stores in a lawsuit that claimed the company profited from the opioid epidemic. And yes, this affects children. This affects everyone. KBTH food stores will pay 44.5 million to the volunteer state over the grocery store's chain's opioid related misconduct, the release says. Click on read more if it would do it for me. All right, let me get on back. The lawsuit had claimed that violated the Tennessee Consumer Protection Act, violated the Tennessee's public nuisance statute at three Knoxville area stores, and created a common law public nuisance by endangering the health of Tennesseans and interfering with the commercial marketplace. It also claimed that Food City sold more than 206 million prescription opioids, almost 25% of which were sold by Food City Store 674 in Bearden. It also sold more than 425.4 sorry, let me go back. I'm getting tongue tied. I'm getting overly anxious here. They sold more than 42.5 million Oxy 30 pills, 44% of which were sold at Food City number 674 in Bearden. Food City ignored or watered down reports of suspicious prescribers, allowing its pharmacies to continue selling opioids even after their doctors, nurses, and physician assistants were raided, disciplined, arrested, or indicted. Food City routinely sold huge quantities of dangerous, high risk prescription combinations, in particular the holy trinity of an opioid, a benzodiazepine, which is a Xanax, and a muscle relaxer, Soma. Food City sold Oxy 30 and other prescription opioids to criminals involved in drug trafficking rings. A lot of the people with drug trafficking also get involved with human trafficking, as we had seen that earlier. You had that there too? Exactly. Addiction. Yep. They purchased more than Oxy 30, one of the most diverted and potent immediate release opioids, from Amerisource Virgin between October 2011 and January 2012 for Food City number 674 than all of Amerisource Virgin's other pharmacy customers in 38 entire states and the District of Columbia. That's a mega problem there. They sold opioids with more, don't want to click on it, morphine milligram equivalents, MMEs, a common unit to evaluate potency among different opioids at Food City Store 674 than all pharmacies in 81 Tennessee counties. They also created a prescription savings card program that allowed customers, or it's not underlined like I want it to, highlighted, to obtain additional price discounts on all opioids, including Oxy 30, making it a hotspot for criminals looking for the cheapest oxycodone in the area. They also established a policy of having its pharmacies hoard opioids and other controlled substances by ordering as many as its supplier would send to each store. They actively solicited secondary suppliers of Oxy 30 when its main supplier reduced thresholds to its highest volume pharmacies in Knoxville. They also pressured employees to increase sales of the opioids. See there? And to fill suspicious opioid prescriptions, threatened pharmacy employees if sales did not improve, and retained employees at its most lucrative opioid selling stores despite policy and regulatory violations. But how way oh it's got Hey there, government want to do one thing. It's right. They say they will, but it just gets worse. Edinburgh is the drug capital of Europe, no joke, and much strangest headquarters get anything. Wow. Food. This is the name of it. Food City. And see, it's Tennessee Attorney General announces opioid lawsuit settlement with Food City. They also illegally and secretly transferred numerous opioids among Food City pharmacies to ensure a steady supply, get around supplier thresholds. I don't know why you don't have a wrench there. I have to get into my YouTube to be able to do that. They continued selling massive quantities of opioids even after multiple instances of overdoses at its store or its store parking lots. They pushed back forcefully against public and private reports that Food City had compliance issues concerning controlled substances, and they sold large quantities of opioids to individuals from foreign countries, wow, including Poland, Venezuela, the UK, Australia, and Canada, and from faraway states within the U.S., including Alaska, Arizona, California, Colorado, Hawaii, Montana, North Dakota, New Mexico, New Jersey, New York, Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, Texas, Utah, Washington State, Wisconsin, and Wyoming. As part of the settlement, Food City says it would ensure future compliance by providing additional training to pharmacy staff, updating the prescription validation process, and monitoring and reporting data related to suspicious activity. Food City will also work to hire Tennesseans who are recovering from opioid addiction. Wow. Every entity that contributed to the opioid crisis must be held accountable. Our Consumer Protection Division remains relentless in the pursuit of justice, and I am proud of the aggressive enforcement in this case, said Attorney General Scarmetti. By paying a hefty price to resolve past misconduct, Food City provides critical resources to save lives and protect families. It can now get back to the business of serving its customers and supporting Tennessee communities. I don't really, just because it says that doesn't mean I believe Food City. You know, they went that far. They had to pay 44.5 million to the volunteer state over the grocery store change of the misconduct. That's crazy, you all. You're not a you're not a bad brother. Get to know. You're not on bad behavior. Appreciate y'all for coming, but like I said, the opioid thing has a lot to do with the trafficking thing. I did a little bit earlier, did that video, and I'm ashamed because at first I think I forgot to start the video as far as showing it, but then I had to redo it again. And so I hope you share that with the great amount of Tennesseans. We're saying that northeastern Tennessee sex trafficking is a major hub, basically, over there, and it's growing. No matter how many agencies they got to try to stop human trafficking, it's just consistently growing. That just shows that more needs to be done, in my eyes. Yeah, you're a good lad, Aaron. Don't you forget it, bro. I'm a bad sister too. I haven't been able to do as much as I would like to do. You are loved. Both of y'all are loved and appreciated more than you realize. And if y'all watching this, please look up Get to Know underscore stop and follow him because he's an advocate as well against these monsters who harm our kids. For that, I love you, bro, and thank you so much for standing up and being a voice for the ones who don't have a voice. That further ado, I would say goodbye for all and see you on the next stream. Yeah, a lot more does need done. And I don't believe our governor and some of the others, like Jack Johnson, that senator, because they're putting certain areas at risk and they're not really helping some of the other areas. They're brushing it under the rug. Look at the Grant Solomon and Gracie Solomon case. Look at the trouble that's happened in Franklin, Tennessee, with a schoolboy and that was raped by some others at that school. And they just said, no, they need to just drop it. Thank you so much for Judge Johnson, the senator's wife that's a judge that's not doing nothing about it. Got the little 3 or 4 year old or something like 3, 4, 5, 6 year old that was also raped by a Sunday school teacher. And they just swept that under the rug, saying, oh, he needs to just forget it, don't need to be told. Well, excuse me, yes, it does need told. Y'all don't need to be a judge, you don't need to be a senator, you don't need to be a governor if you're not protecting our kids. Thank you so much, Jackie. Lots of love and appreciation too. Women and children and the men also, because there's a lot of men that's been done these ways too. We are a voice for the voiceless, trying to be, and hopefully some people would end up being strong enough to come forward and tell their stories as well. Without further ado, I'll talk to y'all later on. The next one is going to be William Benet and Brandon, which her name is Randy. Mom allowed to watch his 48-year-old boyfriend repeatedly rape her 7-year-old daughter over several months. So that one's going to be at the 2 o'clock time. So I'm going to get that story out, and I appreciate any help I could get. And love you both. I love y'all. Keep the faith. We can get this working together. If we cower down to them and shut up, they win. We will remain vigilant. Okay, bye for now.